Another exciting edition of the P&B Sports Show on Politics and Business Television. I'm your host, Abel Sunday. The race for continental glory at the 2026 Women African Cup of Nations continues to gather momentum, and the latest round of Group A fixtures has produced two hard-fought victories. Tournament host Morocco edged hard-fought North African rivals Algeria 1-0 in a tense derby, while Senegal secured a narrow 1-0 win over Kenya to strengthen their campaign. What does this result mean for the group standings? And Morocco showing true championship credentials under the weight of expectation? And can Senegal maintain the consistency needed to challenge for the title? Joining me to break down all the tactical battles, standard performances, and what lies ahead is our in-house analyst, the Sport Berlusconi, Arokotom. Grab your teacup because P&B Sports start now. Welcome back. It's the P&B Sports Show reaching live from the nation's capital. And I'm being joined by the Sport Berlusconi, our in-house sports analyst, Arokotom, all the way from Port Harcourt. Harcourt is amazing having you in the show this morning.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure joining the show. It's always a pleasure doing this with you. I feel I'm happy, joining the show this morning.
Yes, I was hearing you from home. I think 2 days ago while I was not here, you're saying it's quite unfortunate. Everybody is not here to talk about his darling Super Falcons. But yeah, we're about to bounce back. I want to assure you that you're an hero. We're about to bounce back stronger and bigger. I told you before.
I actually support you because the Super Falcons are the only Nigerian team in sports and with basketball, the Tigers, that have been making us proud and happy. So I support you on that.
And anytime the Super Eagles try to put us down, always the Super Falcons come to our rescue. And I think it's like a therapy to us. Super Falcons always come at the right time. But this time around, even with the Virgin 3-2 to Malawi, the debutant for that matter, that's why it hurts, but no problem, no hard feelings. We know that somehow, the Super Falcons know how to come back. But let's dive into the conversation of the day. The tactical statement: Lioness heavily overloaded the wings, but met a stubborn Algeria wall for 84 minutes. Can I say that, or can we say that this can be a blueprint for any team to play Morocco as it stands? Because if you saw what Morocco did their first game, they batched, in fact, Kenya 4-0. You could imagine that kind of scoreline. But going into this game with Algeria, they managed to just score one goal. And I say they managed to score one goal because they go against all odds. But can we say that is a blueprint for any team to look at, or any coach to look at way forward? That okay, look at what Algeria did. This is the tactics they deployed. Can we do better and see how we could catch this the Atlas Lions of Morocco, Lioness of Morocco? I beg your pardon.
I think what we've seen in this Wafon is the fact that there is no small team, and it's quite obvious. It's not like other Wafcons where you see teams and you're like, this team is going to beat this team. I think going into this match, we expected the Moroccans to maybe go into the match and say, okay, we're going to beat the Algerians. But it's a North African derby, like I would like to call it. And also when you look at it, you see what happened in the Nigerian match when we played Malawi. And it's quite obvious that teams are struggling. And one thing that could have happened in the Algeria versus Morocco match is that Morocco could have easily won that match. There is no team that is a pushover. And I think what the Algerians have done is that they've proven that there is a particular blueprint, and they've done their research. There is no pushover. That's why when you see what the Algerian coach by Betiti, what he did to George Builder, it's quite marvelous to see a Moroccan side that played a 4-3-3. They try to overload, they try to have lateral overloads as well. Against an Algerian side that said, you know what, we are going to play a mid block. We have nothing to lose. We are going to see if we can hit people on the counter. We have the players to hit people on the counter. And that was what they did. So we saw the 4-2-2 from the Moroccan side. But also when you look at the Moroccan style of play, the Moroccans did something amazing, and something that we are used to. The Moroccans controlled the build-up, but probably through players like Hane Ait El Haj, who stepped inward, try to pull the Algerian midfield, out of alignment. But the Algerian completely abandoned the high pressing that they gave, which was surprising. And that is something that we're not used to from the Algerian side. The Algerian side is a side that usually they play well. Look at when they play the Super Eagles the Super Falcons in the last World Cup. But we are seeing them using the same philosophy that their main side uses, which is trying to play a compact mid block. And they also try to change the way they play against different teams, pertaining to what the team gives to them. So what we saw from them was instead of them to have this high press, they abandoned it completely. But they insisted on the dense middle block. They used horizontal shiftings. They did a lot of things to trap Moroccan wingers against the touchline, so that they couldn't penetrate, because that is the way the Moroccans play. So it's quite amazing, what we saw in the match. I also saw some in-game adjustments. We saw that they were frustrated for about 70 minutes. Builder made a game-changing tactical switch as well. Introduced this player once again, Chisdale Chaba, who is fantastic, and this forward, it beats Grady. This transformed the whole Moroccan setup into a systematic 4-2-3-1 moving forward. And I think that this is something that the Moroccan side and the Algerian side could have also done as well. You see the tactics you are using. You are not just playing to hold the Moroccans from scoring, but you should be playing to see how you can score as well. And I think that was what the Algerian side lacked. And they lacked the numbers in the box. But the Moroccan side also had the numbers in the box. But they were also pinned by the backline of the Algerian side. But what just happened for Algeria was the late substitutions for the defense. It just failed to handle the pressure that the first 11 had when it came to defense against the Moroccan offense. So I think that that's something that was fantastic that we observed in the match. Yesterday.
Indeed, that was a North African affair. But Tom, if I should ask again, what is it about this North African football that have developed so much? Even their male counterpart, the same thing. If you see the Moroccans, the same thing. The male team. If you are talking about African football, you first call the Moroccan team. If you are talking about, in fact, the North Africans, let me just put it that way. You see the Algerians, you see the Tunisian. Their football has been rebranded, has changed so far from other part of Africa. If you look at the North African, you could say, okay, yeah, this is something that you want to watch. But what have developed their football so much? I don't know if you have. I want to get your opinion on that. I beg your pardon.
I think one thing that we should realize is any team that wins either the AFCON, the Wafon, the World Cup, any good competition, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Asia, any continent that football is being played, tells you a story. It tells you a story of the fact that they built their league at home. The Moroccan league is one of the best in the world. It's not just one of the best in Africa. When you look at the likes of Tunisia, when you look at the likes of Egypt, when you look at the likes of Algeria, these are places where you have good leagues for women, female leagues, male leagues. This show tells a story that they've been able to develop the football in their own country. Look at the work rates that we've seen from these players. Some of them play in Europe, some of them play in Saudi, some of them play in some of these very good leagues. And this tells you a story that they have high work rates, they have high intensity. Look at players like Ines Balomo, Ikram Ajabi, Sheba. Look at these players. These are players that know how to control, the high pressure. Look at them, Hannah El Haj. Look at these players. They are fantastic off and on the ball. Look at Mosdi, that gave this decisive goal. This tells a story, and it's fantastic that we are seeing this in the world of football. And in the world of women football, it shows that every year the Wafon develops. Every year, these teams develop. There is no pushover. Before, it's obvious when you see a team that is going to win the Wafon. But at this rate, with the way the players, with the way the teams are starting, it's obvious that this might tell a new story moving forward. for the WAFCON.
Indeed, it will tell a new story moving forward. But talking about, let's stay with the Atlas Lioness of Morocco. This is their fifth appearance. They've gone back to back, but they've hosted three. This is the third time they're hosting the WAFCON. The first time they hosted was 2022, which they finished. They lost the finals to South Africa, the Bayana of South Africa. The second edition they hosted was in 2024, which our own darling Super Falcons did it over them again, and they lost the finals again. Then this is 2026, and they are still hosting. But where do you think this will lead them to? And the way they are going, they are the first nation now to qualify for the quarterfinals already. Do you think these guys have all the credentials to win the title this season?
Yes, I think they have all the credentials to win the title this season. There's something that plays a huge role when it comes to Morocco. Morocco, they know how to use home advantage, and we've seen that, so far. We saw that in the AFCON.
No. If you are going there, then I'm going to disagree with you, because that is not using home advantage. If you are talking about the AFCON for the male side counterparts, that's not how to use home advantage. That is bullying. My own opinion, though, they bully people. That is it. But if
I think because of arbitration, they make their decision, when it comes to the AFCON, and they are the ones that will decide what is bullying. The world of football, yes, we've seen what is what, but the rules are the rules, and because of arbitration, it's not meant for us to come out to say that, oh, this is bullying or this is not bullying. We've already given our own opinion, and basically that's what we're talking about.
And that's why I said it's my opinion.
But you ask a question, and let me head to that.
Go ahead.
We're looking at the mentality of the Moroccan side. You can see that this is the Moroccan side that they know how to press. They are looking for the goal, and they also have a strong defense. They are playing this high press. So anything that is meeting them, always want to play them a mid block or a low block to make sure that they do not get into the box. And that is fantastic. But when you see players, coming out, players like Mosby coming out in the 84th minute to strike and to score a goal, this tells you the mentality that they have. This tells you that they have this never give up mentality. This tells you that they can collapse any defense, and they can, if your defense is too strong, they can wear out your defense and make you to force substitutions if you do not have a strong bench, and they are going to take advantage of those substitutions. And I think that one thing that will play a strong role for other teams that will meet the Moroccan side is fatigue. And it's also going to be the Moroccan side, because it's going to be playing high-stakes fixtures, just for 4 days after they play high-stakes fixtures, just for 4 days after their opening match, took a clear physical toll. Also when you look at the Nigerian side that they play, Nigeria's defensive reactions, it slows down close as at the 80th minute. And that is anything. If you're going to be playing the Moroccan side, that is something that you have to look into. But this Moroccan side, it looks like a side that if you play them a high press, they are going to punish you on a counter. They are going to punish you and press you. If you play them a mid block, they are going to bear you out. If you play them a low block, it's quite unfortunate. You might just see 4 goals in the first half, and the match might be concluded even before the second half. So this is a team that, yes, they played the finals of the WAFCON against Nigeria the last time. A team that stressed Nigeria, a team that has gotten better from the last WAFCON, and this tells a story. This tells a story that the Moroccan side, they've not only developed when it comes to international football, they've also developed their home football as well.
Indeed, they develop. I want to agree with you. And even if the Moroccan side win the AFCON this time, I think they totally deserve it. And if you look at the title credentials, we'll have 2 games, 2 wins, clean sheet again, and the first team into the quarterfinals. Looking at their performance tonight, I think the Atlas Lioness, I beg your pardon, undisputed tournament favorite, or are they still vulnerable? Because looking at them like this, a lot of people will say, do you think these guys are clinical? Can they win this tournament? But for me, I would think yes, these guys have all what it takes, because I'm looking at what they put, the effort, the passion, and the desire, their hunger to win, and you could see it on the pitch. And of course, I used to say one thing, you say football is a game that who desire it most will always win the thing. But it's time for us to go on a short break. When we'll come back, definitely we'll be talking about Senegal versus Kenya that ended 1-0 in favor of Senegal. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Of course, the the Sport Berlusconi is right here with us. No gimmicks, no distractions, just pure unfiltered sport action.
Diogo Dalot, who pulls the ball then. That is outstanding!
Make the P&B Sports Show part of your weekday routine.
Philogene in the penalty area, twisting and turning. He tries to flick it towards goal.
Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Make the P&B Sports Show part of your weekday routine.
Into Osimhen.
30 minutes of breaking headlines, in-depth analysis, match preview, and one explosive hour of fearless opinion, heated debate, and non-stop football conversation. Weekdays at 9 a.m., Saturdays at 1 p.m. Stay ahead of the no giggling. Welcome back. It's the P&B Sports Show reaching live from the nation's capital. And the Sport Berlusconi is still very much with us, and he has been giving us serious analysis on the Moroccan game. But let's head to the Kenyan game. But Tom, if you look at it, the start tells a wide story. Kenya dominated with 22 shots and a higher expected goal value. But look at the Senegalese. But when you look at the result, Senegal had to get the goal and eventually. But what tells you that I think he's putting the ball at the back of the net that matters. We have I think it's 65% to 50 something percent. I can't get it correctly, but 40 something percent, I beg you, but I can't get it correct. But looking at the start and the result, there are two different things. But how will you tell? Should I say, is it a disappointment, or is it fair to the Kenyans for not winning, or is it fair for the Kenyans not to win that the game yesterday?
I think one thing I would notice is that in the possession, they had a lot of possession when it comes to the Kenyan side. The Kenyan side only tipped possession a little bit over the Algerian, over the Senegalese side. Just a little bit. It wasn't anything fantastic. But I think one thing that we have to take note of is the fact that in the final third, the Senegalese side took the possession, and it was against a Kenyan defense that went deep, mirroring their opening match issues in my own opinion. And they tried to absorb pressure while using, maybe like long diagonal passes as well, to bypass the Senegalese counter press. But that was quite unfortunate that it didn't happen. You could see that realizing that Kenya was matching them, for pace. Senegal tried to adjust, by narrowing their wide, attackers, and this created a form of central overload, that forced Kenya holding midfield deep into their own box, eventually, trying to break that particular deadlock. But let's look at this. One thing that we saw was that we saw Senegalese, line up in a very, very physical, imposing 4-2-3-1, designed to dominate the middle of the pitch, which was the midfield. But when you see Bende Odemba, and Kenya's Harabi Starlet, set up in a flexible 4-1-4-1 block, looking to utilize their wingers, which in my own opinion, their wingers are extremely athletic and quick. Trying to see how they could utilize their wingers to break into the box, or to see how they could get a cross in and see how they could utilize what they have, because they have a very, very physical side. And that is something that we've seen, coming into this match. And coming into this match, I think one thing that we expected was a kind of chaotic end-to-end battle. We expected that the Senegalese side were going to score a lot of goals. And while Senegal, in my own opinion, whether you look at that stat or not, the Senegalese side, in the final third, I think one thing that was their issue was the fact that they did not just use the chances. They had a lot of chances, but they could not even have a shot on target. Against a Kenyan side that had some of the best chances, that had some very good chances, but not as much. Even if you look at that stat does not tell the whole story of what happened on the pitch. Yeah. What happened on the pitch, my own opinion, was that the Senegalese side had more opportunities to score, but the Kenyan side, they tried to control what they could control. But what really took charge of that match, in my own opinion, was the final Third, the stars highlighted a glaring lack of finishing quality, even from both sides. The Senegal, they racked up 21 shot attempts with 8 on target, while Kenya, I think they fired about 22 shot attempts with 6 on target. So I'm telling you that these stats do not tell the complete story. And in my opinion, I think one thing I would have to take note of is the goalkeepers of this match. Oh, they were fantastic. I think they are one of the best in the tournament. I will even put them above our own Super Falcons goalkeepers, because both goalkeepers were always busy on the ball. Kenya's Lilian Hour and the Senegalese shot stopper, each pulled off 6 crucial steals to keep the scoreline very, very tight. And it was fantastic performance for them. Then when you see the players like Senaba Mbegwe, who was a vital anchor for the Senegalese side, controlling the transition, and also seeing how she could break up, the Kenyan counter attack in the middle. Then also for Kenya, when you look at the goalkeeper, Lilian Hour, who kept her team in the game with elite reflexes, building on a strong opening day performance as well. I think it was fantastic. Then also when you look at the Kenyan attackers like Jericho and Engesha, who made great vertical runs behind the Senegalese high defensive line, I think it was fantastic. However, they lacked the final clinical touch to reward and their excellent movements on the pitch. So I'm going to advise that what they can do is this: before their next matches, they should make sure that they have a finishing coach. They should see how they can finish. Because if you play all this and you are not finishing, it is what football fans and football analysts would like to call beautiful rubbish. And that is not what we would like to see in the world of football.
Indeed, that was what they'll say. But looking at the truth is, I think the Kenyan officially they're out of the tournament because they have just they've lost 2 games. They have just 1 game, and I have to give them 3 points, and that cannot take them anywhere. But unfortunately, we're out of time. That's all we have for you on today's edition of the P&B Sports Show. My sincere appreciation to our guest, the Sport Berlusconi Arakotom, for sharing his valuable insight and analysis. Thank you so much, Tom, for doing this with me today.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you, sports fans, for tuning in.
And today is Friday. Please, if you must drink, don't drive. And if you must drive, don't drink. Remember, the party start, rather, the weekend start today, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right. A big thank you to you, our viewers, for staying with us. Keep following the 2026 Women African Cup of Nations as the battle for continental supremacy continues to unfold. You can follow us on all our social media platforms, on YouTube and Facebook at Politics&BusinessTV.English, on IG at PNBTV_English, and on X at PNBTV_ENG. You can also watch us on Free TV or download the Free TV app from your device Play Store for uninterrupted access to all our programs. Coming up next is The Voices with Madina Azaki. I'm Eba Sunday. Until next time, it's bye for now.